is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you are having a fabulous week. I can confidently say that I am. It is 70 degrees and sunny in New York today, so I am living my best life. There is just something so reviving about the a 70-degree weather day after weeks and weeks of rain or like chilly weather. It was gorgeous today, so I am in high spirits. I also had my birthday over the weekend, so spirits are high. We are feeling good. I am officially 29. I am in the last year of my 20s, which is so crazy to think about. I also need to just give myself a pat on the back because I somehow managed to get through last week's episode without mentioning once that my birthday was coming up. That is not like me. Any of my friends listening, you guys know that I like to make my birthday a whole ordeal, and I definitely did. But for me to not mention it on the podcast, that was big of me. This is growing up. I also didn't share every single Instagram story that was tagged in, wishing me a happy birthday. Of course, I responded and thanked my friends, and I appreciate it so much. But I was like, is this growing up? I was like, I don't need to share every single story. You know what I mean? I know I'm loved. I don't need to brag and throw it in people's faces that people are tagging me in stories and celebrating me. I'm so appreciative of it and thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. But I was like, is this growing up? Is this getting older? I don't know. I'm totally off center in my camera. One second, let's adjust. There we go. But yeah, it was such a fabulous weekend. So we unfortunately did not end up going to see Olivia Rodrigo. She's going on stage for her fourth and final show in an hour, and clearly I'm not going because I'm here. I could not get a single ticket for this show for less than $600, which I'm sorry, that is not, I'm not paying that to see Olivia Rodrigo. If you do, people who, more power to you. I am not the people who were buying the charity tickets that are getting released, which, can we talk about this for a second? Let's go on our first tangent of the show, 2 seconds in. What is this charity platinum Ticketmaster is doing now? Why can't they just sell tickets? I understand that with charity platinum, sure, the money's going to charity. That's great. If I wanted to donate to a charity, I would, and I do. When there's a charity that I want to donate to, I donate to them. I don't want to donate to a charity, so I go to a concert. It was literally $600 for these tickets that I know that's not face value. I know for a fact that is not the face value price. That is you just looking Ticketmaster knows that we're all done with the platinum pricing, so instead they're just throwing on a charity thing. And of course Olivia has a say in it too. And the team, whatever. I know it's not just Ticketmaster, but Ticketmaster's the root of all evil to us, you know what I mean? To us fangirls. So we just have to blame them. But did not get to see the Guts tour. That is okay. She does have shows in Philly in July that I was looking at. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not gonna count my chickens before they hatch. I've said that so many times on the podcast, which is not a thing that I say a lot. But the camera comes on and suddenly I have all of these quirky little sayings. I don't know what the microphone does to me. That being said, I did not make it to the Guts tour, but I did make it to Studio 29, which, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I turned my apartment into a club over the weekend for just some of my friends. It wasn't like a big thing or anything. I mean, it was a big party. I put a lot into it, but I didn't invite tons and tons of people. It was just a small little group of us, and it was perfect, perfect, perfect. I had such a fabulous birthday. Thank you to all my friends. I'm pretty sure everyone who was there listened to the podcast for the most part. If they don't, all good. I don't expect my friends to listen to the podcast, but when they do, I'm like, oh my God, you guys listen? That's so nice. But we had such a fun time. Yeah, like I said, I turned our apartment. So literally, where I'm recording right now, this was behind where the camera is. That was our photo op. If you can see behind me, if you're watching the video, there is a new addition to the bar cart. It is a custom made disco ball Jose Cuervo bottle that my friend Brianna made for me. So shout out to you. I just have the best friends in the world. I had such a fabulous birthday. It was perfect. We had so much fun. We did plan we did plan to go downtown and go hit the clubs, but we pre-gamed a little too hard. I ended up throwing up in a subway station trash can. Which is a first for me, surprisingly enough. I've never done that. So cross that off the list, but no regrets. I had such a fabulous time. Thomas and I were saying well, funny enough, Thomas made it to the club. Thomas, Ashley, and Ashley's boyfriend Abhishek made it to the club we got separated because they had to turn back for something. So we attempted to go. We could not figure it out. Really, I couldn't figure it out because I'm the one from the city who like couldn't direct us. So my bad there. I could not figure out what subway we had to take. I was hot mess express, Messiana, just drunk like there was no tomorrow, but so be it. It was my birthday. I can do whatever I want. But my friends are so great. They all were like, we literally could care less. We had so much fun. Like, it was such a fun night. We had a blast. So, thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. And now it is the road to 230, which is nuts. So crazy. But regardless, I had a fabulous birthday. And then on Sunday, obviously, I was a little hungover. I was honestly more tired than hungover, to be completely honest. Like, I definitely wasn't 100% in any aspect, but like I felt more tired than anything. So we laid low, we hung out, we had breakfast, went for a walk. It was gorgeous on Sunday. And then I recorded a bonus episode of the podcast, which is out now. So if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Me and my friend Gati recorded a whole album analysis, track by track breakdown of Cowboy Carter. She's a huge Beehive member, so I knew when I wanted to do that episode, I wanted her to do it with me because I wanted somebody who gets it. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted somebody who would, like, totally understand my old callbacks to things and understand, like, the references, the where she kind of calls back to old albums and, like, to Renaissance and things like that. So it was such a good episode. We had so much fun. It was like an hour and a half long, so it's definitely long, but I promise you it's worth the listen. Also, if you do listen to it, I apologize. The audio was a little funky. I used a new like recording platform that I've never used before. It's not what I use when I record my usual episodes like I'm doing now, and I couldn't listen to my audio with the way that my microphone is, so I couldn't hear myself. So it was like I didn't know what I sounded like until after I finished recording, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But it's listenable. Like, it's not bad. It's definitely not like the best quality, but like we're making do. I'm just a boy with a microphone in his living room trying to make fun content. And I loved the episode. I thought it was great. I had so much fun. Gati had so many good just like bits and pieces and takes of the album. We had so much fun just talking. We had so many of the same thoughts. We had some different thoughts that just like enhanced the conversation. It was fabulous. I absolutely loved it. It's so fun to be able to dive into an album full-fledged with somebody who gets it. And I'm excited to kind of keep this series going as bigger albums come out. So next up, we will have Taylor Swift with my friend Delaney. That's going to be fun. We have actually stayed up until midnight for so many of Taylor's album releases. She lives in Indiana. I live in New York. So just like via text, but we would like listen to the album at midnight together. And if not at midnight, like the next morning, we would share our thoughts like song by song. So we're going to be just doing that on the podcast because we do it anyway. And that's kind of what inspired the idea for this series, this kind of like separate episode kind of thing, because I obviously can't do pop culture coverage and an album deep dive on one episode because we will be here for 3 hours. And as much as I would love to sit here and record and talk for 3 hours about Beyonce, Taylor Swift, whatever it may be, I'm a one man person, like I'm a one man show. So to edit that and all, the whole nine, it just is not gonna happen. So I kind of like the idea to have them separate because we kind of get just some bonus content and it's just more things for me to create and like experiment with. So definitely fun. Keep an eye out for that. I'm aiming to get that out the week after that the album comes out. So keep your eyes out. Obviously, I'll be posting about it. And also keep your eyes on my Instagram the day of Tortured Poets Department release day because I have a little something that I'm cooking up with one of my friends, which is very exciting. And of course, I have been saying it for the past few weeks, but if you're looking for a way to celebrate Tortured Poets Department release, Fangirl Fantasy, my girl Julie, she is coming to New York. The Knitting Factory, actually their new location, they were in Brooklyn, now they're in Manhattan. So I haven't been to this location yet, but we are doing, what am I saying? They are doing a Tortured Poets Department release party. This album title is such a tongue twister. I need Taylor Swift to like go back to the one word titles because this is a lot. But she will be doing a release party that night at the Knitting Factory. If you're in New York, stop by. It's going to be so much fun. I always love the Fangirl Fantasy events, and a Taylor night's going to be a blast. So check it out. Get your tickets. Come hang. It's going to be a blast. But moving forward, if you guys haven't seen, I'm kind of going like majorly viral on TikTok. Not to like not to flex, but if you're not following me on TikTok, you're missing out because there's a lot going on. I posted a TikTok. It's always the content that's like takes me no time. I was sitting on my couch decided to record a reaction to this audio that I heard that was just like funny and like very just like niche and like a I don't know, just like a funny song that I heard. And it went crazy viral. It was at like 14 million views before I started recording, and it is still going. I'm like, it's going nuts. It is crazy. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Go read the comments because the Jesus freaks are going in on me. And it's kind of funny because I'm not gonna get into religion on this, but it's just funny to read their comments because they're like, you shouldn't judge, da 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 da, and I'm like, you're judging me by commenting on my video and like saying I shouldn't do it. So like, I don't know. It's just funny how people will point fingers at somebody when they're doing the exact same thing. It's like you're looking in a mirror, girl. But go check that out. It's just very funny. And it's, yeah, I'm like, we love a viral moment. How fun. Of course, it's on a video that I spent no time on, but I'll take it. I will take the views. I'll take the followers. I'll take the engagement. I don't care what it's on. And that being said, let's hop into some music news because I didn't realize how much music we were getting last week and how much music we're getting this week. There's a lot to discuss. So let's hop in. If you're new here, I start every show with my Drew releases segment, which is my play on new releases. My name's Andrew. Drew rhymed with new releases. You see what I'm doing, simple math. So we always start with last week's releases, kind of what I thought of those, and then what's coming up this week. So first on the list, we have a Megan and Glorilla Wannabe. You guys know I love Megan Thee Stallion. She's so fun. She is the it girl. The pictures of her at that basketball game she went to over the weekend, she is out of control. She is genuinely one of the most stunning people I've ever seen in my life. I'm obsessed with her. But the track is so much fun. They're touring together this year, so I don't have tickets yet, but I will be there. And I'm sure they're gonna perform it. It's just so fun. Just like a good, fun vibe. The girls are loving it on TikTok. They are throwing ass, throwing it back. Megan is living for it. It's so funny. And I just love seeing people just like, even when it's like a silly trend, like I love that TikTok kind of gives us that community sense now, we're able to like all come together and do like a fun trend. I mean, I'm not shaking my ass on TikTok the way these girls are, but I will applaud them all because girl, if you got it, flaunt it. But loving Wannabe from Megan and Glorilla. Next up, we had Omar Apollo Spite. Now, he's been teasing this song for so long, and the fact that we finally got it, thank God, and I'm loving it. It just is such like a perfect easing into summer, like it's just like a vibey, fun track. I love his voice. He had not like a unique voice, but just like uh, the music he makes fits his voice so well that it just is like a such a nice listening experience. I don't know if that makes sense, but loving our new Omar track. Very good if you haven't checked it out. Make sure you check that out. The next one on my list, I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't listen to at all. I I was having a hard time honestly listening to a lot of new music because I'm still digesting Cowboy Carter, but Doja Cat, Scarlet too. I just didn't get around to it. I don't know if I will get around to it. It hasn't really made much waves. Anything that I've seen. I don't know if there's anything crazy. I'll probably listen to it eventually, but not top of my list. There's so much else to listen to and so much else to digest right now. I'm like, I've gotta get my chickens in a row, my ducks in a row. What's the saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying. So I'm sorry, Doja. Not that you're ever gonna listen to this, but I did not listen to the album yet. We'll see when I get to it. But this next track, I cannot stop listening to. I am obsessed with it. So is the internet. Chaperone, Good Luck Babe, the first single from this new era that we are allegedly getting. I mean, I feel like she's still kind of going through the album cycle with her debut album, which I just can't get enough of. You guys know it was in my top five of last year's releases. Like, I'm obsessed with that album, The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess. If you haven't listened to it yet, you need to jump on this train. We are really watching something so special with Chaperone. Like I feel like she is about to blow up and just become like the next big pop star and get on board. I have to give credit where credit's due. My friend Jocelyn did give me, the heads up on her when her album came out, was like, you're gonna love her. So I had to check her out and I cannot get enough. She has been in my rotation every single day. I at least listen to like 2 to 3 songs. I'm obsessed. And this song, Good Luck Babe, no, like it is out of control, so good. I love her voice, I love her sound, I love everything about her. She is so good. So definitely go check that out. It is a front runner in my new releases of the year. I'm obsessed with it. So good. Next up is another album. We had Tori Kelly dropped Tori, her self-titled album. Loving this sound. It is so good. I will be honest, I only listened to it like two or three times fully through, and I haven't really digested it as like a whole project yet. But just from like my first few listens, absolutely loving it. Her voice, ugh, she's so talented. I just love her. I do have to say I'm a little disappointed because she is coming to New York and she's performing at Terminal 5, which if you know, you know. Terminal 5 is hell on earth. It is the worst concert venue anybody can perform at, and I am just like, come on. Like Tori Kelly's, she's not like she can perform somewhere else, I feel like she can do a bigger venue. I don't know. Thomas and I are on the fence on if we're going or not to see Tori at Terminal 5. So I guess we'll see. But I'm loving the album, so I'm sure I'll end up there and I'll just like suck it up and do it. But I really try to avoid that venue at all costs. That being said, our next release, Charlie XCX released two singles from her upcoming album Brat, which I'm so excited for. It's coming out in June. Cannot wait. She released Club Classics, B2B, just two club classics. That's like the best way to put it. They are so dancey, so like just like I just want to be at a club listening to them. I when they came out on Wednesday of last week, so the day I released the episode, and I was like, these coming out the week of my birthday, they're going to be playing them at every gay bar this weekend. I can't wait. And then I didn't make it to the gay bars on my birthday, but it's fine. We still had a blast. I'm loving these tracks. The just the sound is so fun. It makes me want to dance. They're following Von Dutch's footsteps as if they just sound like a gay club. They are so much fun. I cannot wait for this album. I cannot wait to see her in June. It's going to be a blast. So I'm loving these releases from Charlie. And then we got a release from Beyoncé. Nothing new, I mean, it's new, but it's not new. It was the Texas Hold'em Pony Up remix. I'm loving it. I'm obsessed. Such a fun twist on the song. It just adds like a new life to it, which is again what Beyonce does best is like taking a song and making it her own. And even when it's her own song, she's able to spin it in a way that's just like completely new. She did it with the Break My Soul Queens remix, the Cuff It remix. When she does a remix, she does it 200%. And this is no exception. I'm loving this remix. It's so much fun. Just a fun release. I wasn't expecting it. Didn't know where it came from, but that's the thing with Beyonce. You just never know what she's gonna do. You never know. She moves in silence, like you never know what we're gonna get. So I guess we'll see what's next in the Cowboy Carter era. Still obsessed, still loving it. I cannot get enough. And like I said, make sure you go listen to that episode that I put out on Monday because it was so much fun. And I think it will really give a lot of people more insight to the album because we really do break it down like track by track, message by message. We like, oh, I don't know what I just dropped, but I dropped something. She just does such a good job at like I don't know. Just listen to the episode. Just take my word for it. I'm not gonna plug it anymore, but it was such a fun episode and I'm really proud of it. So I would love it if you guys would to go check that out. And that wraps up our releases from last week, which means we have some upcoming ones and we have some really, really, really exciting releases this week. I am actually like 10 out of 10 stoked for every single one, all five of these. First and foremost, Sabrina Carpenter. She is releasing a new single called Espresso, which she said she wanted to give us something special before her Coachella performance, which I'm so excited that Coachella is this weekend. I feel like there's not as much of a hype around it this year. It's definitely kind of died down. I mean, ticket sales alone were like not great. Usually the weekend one at least sells out immediately, and they had tickets for a while. I don't know. I think it's just expensive. Like, it's a lot of money to go to these festivals, and I think people are just like, I don't know. There's a whole another episode I can go into about like festival culture and the pricing and things like that and like the hype of it. But I am very excited for Coachella this weekend just to see everyone's performances. We got some big names on the lineup. Lana Del Rey. We have Renee Rapp, Sabrina Carpenter, Chaperone, Chlöe. So many people. So it'll be exciting to see like what happens. I will say I'm not like staying up for any live performances. I don't think it's not like a Beyonce year or Ariana Grande year. If I happen to catch anything live, I'll watch it, but I'm not like perched at my couch like I usually am for a Coachella performance. But new Sabrina this weekend. It actually comes out on Thursday. So excited for that. Another Coachella performance that we have is Chloe Bailey. She's releasing Boy Bye this weekend. So excited for that track. And we are getting the third single from Dua Lipa's upcoming album, Radical Optimism, Illusion, this week. And there's a music video she's teasing for it. The clip alone, I mean, it sounds like a smash. She she can't release a bad song. Like Dua Lipa is incapable of dropping a bad song, and the song isn't even out yet, and I'm already claiming that Illusion's gonna be another hit. I'm just obsessed. I'm so excited for this album. She just doesn't miss. She's one of my faves, and ugh, I cannot wait for this album comes out in May. And then we have two albums on the horizon this weekend. Girl in Red, I'm Doing It Again, Baby, and Maggie Rogers, Don't Forget Me, which I've been talking about both of these albums for weeks, for months. You guys already know the drill. I'm loving everything we've gotten from these albums thus far, and I am so excited to finally get the full bodies of work. So that is this weekend. We have so much coming up. We are going into spring, summer season, and just like, I'm so excited. There's going to be so much music coming out, so much to talk about. And yeah, those are your releases. So if you don't know, I update my Drew releases playlist every week. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Music, or if you go to the link in my bio on Instagram, it is there. And I add all the new releases that I talk about. And then by the week after, I delete the ones that I didn't like from it. So that way you can kind of like listen to them with me through the week. And then by the week after, you know which ones I liked and which I didn't like. So go check that out. And those are our releases for the week, which means it's time to hop into some pop culture topics. And there's plentiful. Let's just leave it at that. Staying on some music news, Billie Eilish has announced that her new album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, is dropping May 17th. Very excited for that. I love all of Billie's past projects, so I'm really excited to see what this sound is like. She doesn't really venture too far off of her path. She always, I mean, I guess that's a lie. She did experiment a little bit with Happier Than Ever. There's some different sounds on it. But regardless, she's so thoughtful with her music and her lyrics and her production, and her and Phineas just do such a great job of putting bodies of work together. She's an artist who releases albums, not just singles, which leads me to the next point that there's going to be no singles from this album, which I have such a love-hate relationship with. Singles to an album are like that first taste of them, it's like they're usually the lead single is like the one that the artist really wants us to either gives us the full idea of the album, or if you're Ariana Grande, it throws us off completely on what the album's gonna sound like. So it's just a fun. I always like to look back when the album's fully out and be like, okay, this was the lead single, why? And kind of dissect it there. Like, I guess that I wasn't gonna plug it again, but Gotti and I were saying on the Beyonce episode on Monday that Beyonce releasing Texas Hold'em in 16 carriages was such a smart idea because Texas Hold'em gave that country taste, but then 16 carriages said like, hey, it's gonna be country, but it's gonna cover like serious things. You know what I mean? Like it's still gonna give us that like deep rooted messaging through it. So I always love to look back and see like why somebody released the lead single that they did versus like when the album comes out. But Billie is doing no singles. She wants this to be released as a full body of work, which I do respect. I think for some artists like Taylor Swift, I don't think she's doing a lead single for Tortured Poets, but like she didn't for Midnight's either, and like she is another artist who does like a body of work. You know what I mean? So all the songs make sense together. So to give us a sneak peek of a song might like take away from the album, the listening experience. So definitely a double-edged sword there. But Billie is doing no singles, and she is saying fuck Rolling Stone. Allegedly, they leaked her track list. I don't really know what went down and how the track list was leaked. I did think her posting on her Instagram story and saying fuck Rolling Stone was a little aggressive. I was like, that's like a lot. They're a huge. They're like the music publication. And you just did that interview with them where you talked about all the vinyl things and like that was making waves. So like just like a weird take, if you ask me. I don't know, but I can't. She just already posted it. Like I don't know. My opinion doesn't really matter in that sense because it's already up. But on the topic of her Instagram stories, whoever on Billie Eilish's marketing team thought about the close friends tactic, genius. Genius. I hope you got a 300% raise for that because it is one of the best album marketing tactics I have seen in years. It was so smart. Everybody instantly, when they saw that green ring around Billie Eilish's profile and they were like, I'm on Billie's close friends, my entire timeline was blowing up on Twitter. Like it was so smart. She gained over 10 million followers in a week. Just genius. So smart. I'm obsessed. As somebody who works in marketing and just loves music promotion and music anything related to it, I'm obsessed. It was so smart, and I feel like we're honestly probably going to see a lot of other artists taking this tactic because it was so effective. I mean, 10 million followers in a week. That is such a crazy growth rate. Like, that is so many people. And honestly, surprising that there were 10 million people who didn't follow Billie Eilish before that. Like, she already had 112 or something million followers. So, like, to just keep that number going, literally insane. So kudos to whoever on Billy's team thought of that because I think that is one of the smartest marketing tactics I have seen in so long. But on the other hand, she's doing, I think it's 9 vinyl pressings for this album. Which if you know, we talked about it last week, I believe, or the week before. She just made major waves in the news talking about how people who do multiple pressings for a vinyl is wasteful. She did combat it and say, when I released all those pressings for Happier Than Ever, it was all recycled material. So she was saying, she was like, I do it myself, but I do it in a sustainable way, which I will say definitely does change the game a little bit. It definitely takes the edge off there, but it's still like you can't come in with such a hot take and then do what you were just talking about. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? She put the pressings up, and right after they went up, a statement at the top of her website popped up and it said, all vinyl is made using recyclable or recycled compounds, and all packaging is made from recycled paper and boards. The ink used is raw plant based and water based dispersion varnish, and the sleeves are 100% recycled and reusable. So she's definitely taking the steps and like I will say I'm very impressed that the vinyl pricing is pretty standard. It's like the $30 range for which is typical for a vinyl. Which you would think something made with all of these sustainable products and things like that would be a lot more expensive, but I guess maybe she's just fronting the money or maybe it's not as expensive. Whatever she's doing, I understand why she's doing it and why she said what she said, but it's definitely to like somebody who's not me, who doesn't dig in and do research, like it definitely looks a little shady and a little like hypocritical, I guess. I'm not saying it's hypocritical. I'm just like doing this podcast and like being somebody who is so invested in pop culture and music and like what everyone's doing, like I do take the time to read more and like take the extra time. But like somebody surface level who last week saw the headline about Billie Eilish dragging people for vinyls and then this week releases, I think it was again like 9 pressings of a vinyl, like to a surface level fan, they're gonna be like, didn't you just it's like the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz, like some people go both ways, like very hypocritical. But again, not everybody is as in depth as I am, so I understand that it is not normal to just be like, oh yeah, well this is why it is. So regardless, new Billie album on the horizon because what pop star isn't releasing an album this year? It's insane. I am like so overwhelmed in the best way though. Moving on, some other music news, but no releases, thank God, because I think we're good to pump the brakes for a bit. Beyonce did have a #1 album with Cowboy Carter, and if you're watching the video, I am dancing because when doesn't she have a #1? She has, in fact, become the first woman in history to have all 8 of her first studio albums hit #1. So every single studio album she has ever released as a solo artist has hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is so crazy. Did she get a stepping stone with Destiny's Child? Of course she did. But for your debut album to go #1, it is such a risk to leave a group and then release new music for Danger Teen Love to go #1, and then every project after that to continue to hit #1 for all of these years. She released her first album in 2003. It is 2024. That is 21 years later, and she is still hitting #1 with every single studio album she releases. Now, that doesn't include Homecoming, it doesn't include The Gift, it doesn't include the Carter album, Everything Is Love. These are just her solo albums. So, of course, she has had projects that haven't hit #1, but her individual bodies of work, her 8 studio albums, not a soundtrack, not a collab, not a live album, all hitting #1. I mean, she said it herself, I'm that girl. It's just, she's in her own game. It's insane. She also has become the first Black woman in history to score a #1 on the country album chart, and she has caused Levi's to see a 20% increase in their stock since the album came out. because of the Post Malone collab Levi's jeans. I mean, you want to talk about impact. It is so, so impressive. I love to see like things in the world outside of music like get a shift because of a release like this. And she's not the first one, of course. Like I'm sure something with Ariana, like with Seven Rings or Thank You Next, like I'm sure there was some shift there with like maybe Tiffany rings. I don't know. Or I wouldn't, I'm curious if like Red Lobster saw an increase in revenue when she released Formation. Like there's definitely it's cool to see like how chronically online and dedicated fans can be when their fave mentions something in a song and how like their stock or their revenue can go up. So just a fun little fact I needed to throw in because like I obviously can't stop talking about Beyonce. Some other sprinkles of music news, but nothing really confirmed. Ariana Grande teases that there is more to come for the Eternal Sunshine era, which I am so here for. That album has not come off repeat. Like, I have literally been shifting from Cowboy Carter, Eternal Sunshine, Chaperone. Like, it has literally been like, that's my rotation. And she said, I cannot wait for everything that is yet to come with the Eternal Sunshine cycle that has only just begun and it may never end, which I am I love the album. I if you didn't listen to the episode when the album came out, well, but that had to be what, like a month ago, so probably like 4 episodes ago. I think it's called Ariana Grande, You Will Always Be Famous. I was just gushing about the album and I'm so obsessed. It is such a good album. So the fact that there's potentially more to come, I am seated, I am sat, my seatbelt is on, and I am ready for the ride because I cannot get enough of that album. And I just can't get enough of Ariana Grande. Everything she does, I'm eating it up. Did you guys see that video of her leaving Spamalot with Ethan the other day? We don't see them like leaving places together a lot. So the fact that they were together and like holding hands walking down the street, I was like, ooh, she's ready to, they're going more public. So fun little, fun little video we got to see of them this weekend, which we don't get a lot. Somebody else that we don't get a lot from, and we don't get to see too often, Rihanna. She is on the cover of Interview Magazine for their spring 2024 cover, and she looks out of control. When doesn't she? But like, she just continues to just like push things like their limits and just do new things. Like, she is not afraid to experiment with a look or with like a photo shoot idea. Like, I just love it. The cover is so good. My favorite of the photo shoot, if you haven't seen, this is genius. Whoever thought of this? They took a photo of her and she's topless, and then they printed out the photo and put a pen over her titties. So it was like covering it and censoring it, but like then they took a photo of the pen over the photo. Like, no, it kind of just like it took the digital art, printed it, put it into real life, and then put something over it to then take another photo of it. I don't know. It was just a cool concept, and I think of these things. I like to think of like what goes on behind the scenes and things like that. But the whole photo shoot was gorgeous, and of course, she gave an interview for Interview Magazine with it. And my two takeaways: first and foremost, this girl knows her Bravo. It is so impressive the way she knows every single thing about these Bravo celebrities, and she is able to give such like a full, well-rounded, just like answer to any question for any franchise that comes her way. She was talking about Kyle Richards. She was talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And what really stuck out to me is the interviewer asked, "Do you think Monica Garcia should have been fired for what happened?" So if you didn't watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City last season, we found out that the new cast member Monica was running a drama page, Reality Von Tease, and that page pretty much just like leaked all this information, mainly about Jen Shaw, but all the girls were really affected, and she has since been fired from the show. They all said they wouldn't film with her, so obviously they had no other choice. And Rihanna said, if Tom Sandoval can come back, why can't Monica? I was like, oh. One thing about Rihanna, she loves a messy bitch. Like, she is here for someone to just like stir the pot. And I was laughing so hard when I read that because, like, it is kind of true. Tom Sandoval, if you don't know from Vanderpump Rules, he cheated on his like long time. I don't know if they were engaged or girlfriend. I don't watch Vanderpump Rules, but I feel like Scandoval was everywhere. Like, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing about it or seeing it. And he cheated on her longtime girlfriend slash fiance. Again, I don't watch the show. I'm not sure, with her best friend, and he is now back on the show. So she's like, if he can do that, why can't somebody running essentially a fan account be back on the show? But yeah, I'm not the producer, but Rihanna speaks, and I feel like maybe you should jump a little bit. Like maybe you should listen to Miss Riri because that could be interesting. The interviewer also went on to comment on her earring and said that she loved it. And she said that ASAP Rocky got it for her and said that his style is so good that sometimes she looked bum as shit next to him, which I'm like, Rihanna thinking that she looks like a bum in any aspect ever. She could walk outside in like triple XL sweatpants and a stained hoodie and look better than I do when I'm dressed to the nines for a wedding. Like, she can't look bum as shit. So the fact that she thinks that she does, I'm like, girl, you gotta wrap that up ASAP Rocky. Cause like it's not it. But their relationship is funny. We don't get too I mean, we see them together and obviously they do like their pictures and like that, but like we don't hear from them a lot. Rihanna's very private, so is he. Like they aren't doing too much. So just getting any tidbits of them and like a look into their relationship, I feel like they really are like the definition of like dating your best friend from what I can like gather from the pieces that we've gotten. So any little tidbits about them and their relationship, I just always love to soak up because there's not as much of it as we do with other celebrities. So I just thought that was a fun little thing to talk about. Definitely go check out the photos. They were stunning. I loved the direction, so much fun. I love Interview Magazine. They always do such fun photo shoots. They're always kind of like pushing the limits, going against the grain, and just doing really fun, different experimental things. So they're definitely always wanted to look out for. When I saw that Rihanna was on the cover, I sent it to Thomas and I was like, oh my fucking God, like this is huge. Shifting gears a little bit, some other relationship news, and kind of piggybacking off of something that we talked about last week. My queen, my girl, Gypsy Rose. So last week we discussed how her and her husband Ryan have split after 3 months, and they are no, or 3 months after being out of prison. They are separated. They are split. That news broke. The next day, she was spotted with her ex-boyfriend, ex-fiancé actually, Ken Urker. Now, if you're wondering when she had time to have another ex, she, before Ryan, there was another pen pal that was writing to her, and they got engaged while she was in prison. So Gypsy Rose literally had two men while she was in jail. Like, this girl, I don't know what spell she casts or like what magic she does. She's one thing about her, she's gonna have a man. Gypsy Rose is going to stay in a relationship. Well, maybe not in the same relationship, but she's gonna have a man. So just like a few days after her divorce is announced, she is spotted with her ex getting matching tattoos. Like what? I don't know. I don't know if they're together. I don't know if they were just like rekindling, becoming friends, whatever it was. And we also found out that she was getting a nose job and she has gotten the nose job. She is ready for a hot gypsy summer. Like hot girl summer out, hot gypsy summer in. This girl is ready. She has not been outside in years. She is about to tear up this summer. I fear she is going into like Jersey Shore style going out. Like she is going to be outside. She's gonna have a man. She has a new nose. She has a new tattoo. Like this girl is going out on the town, and good for her. You know what I mean? Yeah, she orchestrated her mom's death. Yeah, she rekindled with her ex the day after she called off her divorce. But like the girl has never had any sense of a normal aspect in her life. Let's let her live her life, do her thing. Like, who cares? I feel like with her, it's like she gets a pass. We're all good. Something I did want to mention and like that I'm a little like about this ex that she is now being seen with broke up with her after the Hulu show The Act came out because it was too much for him. Which like she didn't know the show. It's like she didn't approve the show. She didn't write the show. It was a show about her life, which it if you haven't seen The Act, it pretty much follows like very closely, scene by scene, to what happened, like what we know that happened, especially from like the documentaries and the interviews. Like it's very well done, and they stick to the details pretty close. So by the time The Act had come out, we had known her whole story. There was Mommy Dead and Dearest, there was the Dr. Phil interview. Like, it was nothing new for him to learn, but he broke up with her once The Act came out because it was too much for him to handle. I just feel like that's weird. I don't know. Again, I'm no relationship coach. I'm her dating this man doesn't mean much to me. Like it's not making or breaking my day. It's not, the biggest thing, but I'm just like that just seems a little odd. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Her ex-husband Ryan did post a TikTok speaking out about it. To be completely honest, I scrolled past it. I was like, just go. Your time is up. Gypsy's done with you. She threw you to the curb. You're lucky she didn't kill you. You're lucky she didn't, Dee Dee Blanchard you, but That's so bad, but whatever. That being said, Gypsy Rose is going to be outside this summer, hot gypsy summer. Get ready. She got a new nose, a new man, some new ink. She's about to live her life up. I hope, you know what I want? I want her to go out with like Snooki. Snooki JWoww. Can you guys get in touch with Gypsy Rose and like take her out on the town? Take her out, go party. Actually, no. Snooki, Dina need to have her out for a dirty stay out night. Can you imagine Gypsy Rose, Snooki, and Dina having a dirty stay out night? Oh, I'm obsessed. I need this to happen. If you have any connection to the Jersey Shore girls, to any of them, have your people call my people. Let's chat. Let's get this arranged. Because like imagine Gypsy on a dirty stay out night with Nicole and Dina. I think I'm onto something. I think I'm really putting some pieces together for like fantastic reality TV. I'm gonna see what I can do. Some other TV news. I really crack myself up. Like I've always said, it's going on a little tangent. I've always said in my life, like I really do laugh at all my own jokes, and I am my biggest fan. Like I literally think I'm the funniest person I've ever met in my life. Like I genuinely, maybe that sounds conceited and like saying it on the podcast now, maybe people are gonna be like turned off, but like good. This is the truth. I think I am the funniest person in the world. If you listen or watch the podcast, you know, like I literally laugh so often at things that I say. And I think when I was, let's get a little too pop to handle history. So when I was originally planning this podcast, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it like with a co-host or solo, but I was like, realistically, I narrate in my head. This is gonna make people give me like in a psych ward, but I narrate in my head as if I'm like on a TV show or vlogging all the time. So like I have self-commentary going 24/7. It's probably some like mental illness, I don't know. But I was like, no, I can do this by myself because I talk to myself in my head all day, all the time, like, and I laugh at myself constantly. So I'm like, I can just do this solo. Maybe down the road one day I'll have a co-host, but for now it's just me. But like I genuinely do laugh at 90% of the things that I say, which I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm like full of myself in that sense, but it's got me this far, so let's keep it pushing. Enough about me, right? Moving on, Drag Race. This was I going into this episode, I really wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be all four of them get pushed through, top three, like what was gonna happen. And spoiler, we do have a top three, but let's go through the episode first. So it's a new day in the workroom, and Rue comes in and they are proposed with the challenge of, or the mini challenge rather, lip syncing underwater to Rue's song. And I am just like, much like the traders, where do they come up with these things? Like, I mean, granted, on Drag Race, like season five, they were the first day in the workroom. They were like, all right, go jump in a dunk tank and then pose. And like, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised that they're like making these girls like get waterboarded while they're lip syncing to RuPaul's music. But I was like, this is nuts. Like, I don't know. And then I couldn't help but think, like, while the girls were lip syncing and while they were had their head fully submerged in this water, the other three girls and Rue and the two pit crew members just stood there in silence and watched. Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the workroom at any time and just like when we're watching it on TV, they have background music, there's editing, but like it's really just a giant set with up to 12 gay men in it at a time. Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall and just like really see what goes down and like without the editing and like the music and the sound effects and cutting to the confessionals, like to be a fly on the wall in the workroom for just one day, it's kind of a bucket list thing for mine. So if anybody can make that happen, let me know. So they do this mini challenge. Saphira ends up winning. She continues to win everything on this season, rightfully so. Like I'm fully on board with Saphira Crystal winning anything that she tries, but she wins the mini challenge, which pretty much just means she's able to lip sync underwater. So like that's a fun party trick to have. They then move on to find out that their challenge this week is to come up with a title and a cover for their memoir, which they will then be going on a podcast with Matt Rogers from Las Culturistas to talk about it, which I love the way Drag Race ties in people in like queer people of influence into the show. They don't just get like the most popular podcaster or whatever. I mean, Matt Rogers is a very, very popular, successful podcaster. That is no tea to him. But like the fact that they make sure they always have a queer person somehow involved, I just really I love that. And I appreciate any type of like queer visibility to any extent. So they go ahead, they have to write their little memoirs. I don't know how much of the book they actually had to write because obviously they weren't writing a full book, but they definitely had decent pieces of this book that they had to write, like at least a few stories or things like that to be able to talk about it on the podcast because that really was like the main challenge, that and the photo shoot. So they do a photo shoot with Rue, which really has to be so rewarding to be able to work. I mean, you're on RuPaul's show. Obviously, you're working with her nonstop throughout the season, but like to have a one-on-one time with Rue and you're in the top four, she's like at the end of the day, RuPaul is just like a genius marketing expert when you really boil it down. She has been marketing herself nonstop her entire life, and that's how she has gotten to host the biggest drag queen show in the world. Like she has such a good eye and a mind for marketing. So to get any insight from her, I feel like is so beneficial. They do their photo shoot. I mean, you guys know I love Nymphia. She ate that photo shoot. She looked so good. I loved that she didn't do a yellow look. I loved the shoes. I loved the hair. Everything about her look was perfect. I was obsessed. I loved Saphira's too. But like the judges said, they did not love Q and Plain. And I have to agree, I did not like their covers. I didn't really like their looks for it. It just seemed like you got this far to the top four, and that's what you pick for your top four main challenge look. I don't know. It just seemed, I don't know, they ran out of outfits, they didn't pack enough, but whatever it was, I wasn't buying what they were selling, and neither were the judges. So we get to the main stage, and the theme this week is fans, and I honestly only liked Nymphia's. I don't know if that's controversial or a hot take. I loved Saphira in the challenge, doing the book and everything, and I loved her podcast episode. It was very touching. But as far as on the runway, I really only liked Nymphia's look. Everyone else, they weren't bad, but I was just like, eh. Like, especially top four, like we were at such a high caliber. Don't get me wrong, Saphira's was really, really well constructed and it looked great. Again, I say it all the time. I'm not a drag queen, so like I know that I can't do what they're doing. So like, do I have grounds to judge what they're saying? Not really, but I do it anyway. But I do it out of a way of just like what I like kind of thing. You know what I mean? But that being said, yeah, I wasn't like loving the other girls' runways. I thought that Nymphia really brought it. She looked great. When doesn't she? And my girl won again. So we are now to give a little tally of everybody. We have Saphira and Plain tied with 4 wins, Nymphia with 3, and Q with 2. Not for long though. We then find out that Plain Jane and Q are the bottom two this week, and they end up obviously having to do a lip sync, and Plain Jane does end up beating her. Now, I do believe that, like, even if Q pulled out any stops or fun things for this lip sync and technically deserved to win, Q has double the amount of wins and is to the top three. It's not just like you're surviving another week. This is like to the grand finale. So they really had to kind of like with Saphira last week against Morphine, like they really like, they couldn't. I mean, I guess they could have. That really would have gagged the girls if Plain Jane went home this week, right before the finale, when she's had really like a spotless track record. Like she has been killing it this season. As much as I didn't like her, as like rotted as I thought she was, I was watching the pit stop, and it was Trixie and Mohart, and they were like, to the fans who are like, why don't you like her because she's mean? They're there to compete for $200,000. Like, you would be mean too. And that kind of, I was like, you know what? You have a good point. Like, was Plain Jane a rotted bitch? Yes. But she is there to compete with these girls. Like they said, it is not RuPaul's best friend race. And I kind of have to remind myself that more often. It's like, of course, I want everybody to get along, be friends, but like, yeah, Plain Jane was mean, but like she's not there to be BFFs with everybody. Of course, you end up with this like really nice sisterhood with a lot of the girls. You end up making so many friends and like a drag family, and like that's just like an added benefit. But when it really boils it down, you're there to win $200,000. Like you're there to win a crown. So Trixie and Mo saying that, I was like, you know what? They have a good point. So I am very happy to say that our top three is Nymphia, Saphira, and Plain Jane. Nymphia and Saphira have been two of my front runners since the beginning. You can go back and listen to the episodes when I started recapping the season. I have been rooting for them from the beginning, so I'm so happy to see that two of my favorite girls have made it to the finale. And congratulations to Plain Jane, of course, for making it because That's just huge. She had a spotless track record. Literally, this was the first time she was in the bottom the entire season, which is just that's insane. That's so impressive. You know what I mean? So kudos to you. We have 2 more weeks of the finale. So next week is a Drag Race Lollapalooza, where all the old girls are going to come back and lip sync against each other for a cash prize, and then the finale after that. So I'll debate if I want to cover it next week about the lip sync episode. Is I'm sure it's going to be good. Honestly, between like Morphine, Maya, Mirage, there's probably going to be some gaggy lip sync. So maybe we'll talk about just like my favorite lip syncs. I'm not going to do a full recap of every lip sync because there's a lot of bitches that we'll have to talk about. But we will recap the finale in a few weeks. I am so excited to see who takes home the crown. I'm really, really crossing my fingers, crossing my toes for Nympia. Again, if it's Saphira, I will be over the moon happy, but we will see in 2 weeks. And that is the end of the episode. But you guys know that is not the full end of the episode. We still have my final segment, which is my yes and my mess of the week. So if you're new here, every week I end the episode with my yes and my mess. My yes being something I'm loving, my mess being something I'm not loving. So let's start off with my yes. And I cannot get enough of Zendaya's press tour looks for the Challengers movie. She has been out and about doing press for her new movie, The Challengers, and she just, I mean, when doesn't she look insane? But these looks are so good. Of course, she is styled by Law Roach. They are like a match made in heaven. The way that he styles her is so. I am just his talent. Actually, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know Law Roach's pronouns, so let me just double check that. They are he, him. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Didn't want to, cross any borders there. But yes, Law Roach, he just continues to dress this bitch. Not even like to the tens. This is like 15s. The one look that really just like sent it for me was a Loewe stilettos with the tennis balls on the heels. If you haven't seen these shoes, I literally gasped. I was like, huh, are you fucking kidding? If you don't get the reference, the Challengers movie is a movie based on a tennis player. So the way that he was able, he said he wanted to, I have the quote, hang on. He said, I wanted it to be tennis, but make it fashion. And that he did. These press looks are so good. She is also in the cover of not only US Vogue, but also British Vogue. He styled both of the shoots. The shoots are insane. They just are a match made in heaven. She is so stunning. I love everything she does, and I love her. She looks out of control all the time. And something that I love about Zendaya is the way that she really commits to her roles. Every press tour, I can't even imagine how long it takes them to put together the looks and just conceptualize what they're gonna do. They just do such a good job at like taking whatever role she's in or like the concept or like, theme of the movie and making it such high fashion. It is so impressive. And I want a coffee table book of all of the looks that Zendaya has had done by La Roche. Like, I want a full, like, I will spend however much money on this book. I don't care. I want like a thick, nice coffee table book with sketches, with photos, with notes, with like where she wore it, why they picked it. I want it like I need it so bad. If there is one, I feel like I would know. I don't think that there is, but like if there is, somebody let me know because I will buy it immediately. But I don't think that there is one. I feel like I would know that because again, I follow Zendaya pretty closely and I also follow Law pretty closely, so I feel like I would know, but that being said, that is my yes of the week. Zendaya, you will always be famous. La Roche, I know you're retired, but just please never stop styling Zendaya because I eat it up every single time. No crumbs left. Lick the plate clean. It is everything to me. That is my yes, which means it is time for my mess. And my mess this week. What is going on with Morgan Wallen? I mean, I don't like Morgan Wallen to begin with. Like, I'm not disappointed because I genuinely don't like him. He's not a good person. We all know why. Like, he's had so many issues where he has been like, just just awful, not a good person. But this past week, he mentioned Taylor Swift and his show, not in like a negative way. He just said like, "Oh, I had the biggest show at this stadium, but I'm glad I got that title before Taylor Swift performed here." His crowd booed them, which just like shows how rotted his fans are, just like him. He did say, "No, we're not going to boo Taylor." Like he did stand up for her. I'm not giving him credit. I'm not being like, "Oh, yay, he's a savior." Like no. your fans are trash because you're trash. Sorry if you're a Morgan Wallen fan listening to this. I'm just, if you're listening to this and you like Morgan Wallen, you are not trash because I can imagine that somebody that I wait along with and likes my podcast isn't, but just the masses, you know what I mean? Not everybody in that stadium was booing. Not everybody in that stadium is trash, but the masses, unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's true. But that is not the mess of the week. The mess is the fact that after that show, he went out in Nashville. I believe it was Nashville. Yeah. Yes, it was Nashville. Got very drunk and found out that his ex-fiancé, question mark, I don't keep up with him, so I don't know, but his ex, who was recently engaged to somebody else and eloped and got married, he was so enraged by it that he threw a chair off of the roof of a Nashville bar, and the chair landed 6 feet away from police officers, which is just like, karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a god. Karma is the chair that you threw off the rooftop. Like you got what you were asking for, dude. Like relax. Like throwing a chair off of the roof of a bar. Do you know how dangerous that is for anybody to do it? Like in no world is that okay to act like that. But when you are a unfortunately very successful country singer, like really the most successful male country singer besides like Luke Holmes right now, of what I know. You guys know I don't really dive into male country music, but I know they're big enough for me to even know their names in that sense. But like he's huge. He's doing stadium tours. People love him. And for you to go to a bar as a public figure in a very country-esque place after you just did a concert in that city, knowing your fans are probably around, like to throw a chair off the bar because your ex is now married, thank God she broke up with you or it ended because who knows what she like, you clearly are a violent person and like should not be roaming around free will. It is just like, I don't know. It is really, it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing and I don't know, something about that man, he needs help and I say that almost laughing in a way because there's been so many instances, but like if there is some like more serious deep rooted shit, like I hope he gets the help that he needs, but also like control your fucking self. You're a grown ass man. You know what I mean? Like I have no sympathy for you. Watch like just be a civil human being. Go to therapy. Do like go to like a axe throwing place. Do something else besides throwing a chair off the roof of a bar. I can't. When I read this headline, I was like, is this like a April Fool's joke that got published a few that got lost in like, the PR didn't get published on time, so they were like, oh, let's just do it now. Like, I genuinely was like, there's no way. But sure enough, he was in jail. I don't know if I doubt he's still in jail, but regardless, again, I don't care enough to look it up. But this was just like, I saw this and I was like, you got to be kidding me. You gotta be kidding. I can't. And with that, that is the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you like what you heard, make sure you give it a 5-star rating wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Play. I'm available everywhere. Leave me a 5-star rating, leave me a review, let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, all the YouTube things. And I say it every week, but if everybody listening to this episode sent this episode to one person, I would double the listeners. It's simple math. I appreciate everybody who is sending the episodes around. You guys are real ones. Continue sending it, continue sharing it. But that being said, if you are not following us on social media, make sure you are. We are at 2pop to handle on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, I am there. You can also follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at Andrew Nucatola. Make sure you head over to my TikTok and go read the comments on my viral video right now because they are hilarious. The girls are mad. And they should be. I don't really care. Stay mad. I don't really give a fuck. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend and I will catch you soon. Bye.